Now, the show that you see on the walls here is from a recent trip for National Geographic expeditions, and we went to 9 countries in 22 days. The great thing about it was you go to all these signature places. You know, you're at the Taj Mahal one day, then the next day you're out on the Serengeti with lions, and the day after that you're at Luxor Temple, and then you're in Marrakesh, and then you're heading home. You know, it's just a whirlwind. The show opens over here on this wall at Machu Picchu in Peru and goes on down the wall to Easter Island, to Australia, Samoa, Cambodia, to Angkor Wat, on to the Taj Mahal in India, the Serengeti, Egypt, Marrakesh, and home. You know, right around the wall in sequence, so people can kind of go along on the trip. The first challenge of producing this show was the show was going to open on Thursday evening. Monday afternoon I started printing on the show. And there were other challenges too. I wanted a lot of pictures in the show, so I wanted to go to a standard size, the 17 by 22, in which I put an 18 by 12 inch image on there. And there would be panoramas in it. There would be flaming bright colors, super saturated stuff. There would be subtle backlit sorts of scenes with washed out backgrounds. There were just all kinds of things that had to be done, and it had to work quickly. We have been in Small World printing everything on our Epson 9800, which has served us wonderfully. We've since upgraded to the 9900, which gives us this huge color gamut, as well as, you know, the sharpness and the subtlety of gradations and everything is just spectacular. But for this show, I also then wanted to have the convenience and speed of sheet feeding with all the image quality that came out of the 9900, so that made the 4900 the logical choice. It sits right next to my desk. I can sit there and spew prints out about as fast as I can run them through the computer, and it just stick in the roll paper and print the 17-inch wide panoramas. It was amazingly quick. On this show, we're really lucky to have exhibition fiber, because I remember in the old black and white days printing on double weight glossy dried matte, and you got this wonderful surface texture and the substance of the print, and that's what exhibition fiber delivers. Now, on this show, we were extra lucky because there is now exhibition fiber in roll paper. That meant that I could print the panoramas on the same paper, straight out of the same printer, seamlessly. The other great thing about the 4900 is, while I print almost everything on exhibition fiber, there are times when I want to print on other papers, like fine art papers. And the 4900 lets us do that without wasting time and ink, pulling out cartridges to go from the PK inks to the matte inks for the black. It goes very quickly, it automatically makes the transition, and it's a piece of cake. We can use high-speed printing all the time. There's no compromise in using high-speed printing and the printhead printing on both passes, and it really means that it prints faster. I would sit there, and as fast as I could get the next file done, the print would be out and the printer would be waiting for me, ready to go. I was glad to see that the 4900 has the Ultrachrome HDR ink set. Same ink set that's over in the 9900, so we get exactly the same quality between the two printers. And when I need it, it really lets me get those extreme gamut colors that I might have been missing before. The extreme gamut, you won't use it all the time, you won't see it all the time, but there were images in this show where I could see it. The greens at Machu Picchu, or the greens in the picture from the rainforest in Australia, the reds of that Maasai tribesman and the Serengeti, those reds were just almost fluorescent. This gets a little geeky. What I discovered on this thing is it's also got something called a TFP, thin film piezo printhead. Now, I don't know how they do it. What it has to do with is how accurately you deliver those little ink drops. Extremely accurately at high speed if you're going to really render detail. And one place I could see that was at that panorama of the souk in Marrakesh, which is an image just full of lots of detail in there. If you don't do all of that well, then the visceral quality of the print goes away. I can't tell you how many hours, days, years, or decades I spent in a darkroom trying to get the kind of tonality that I can get out of one of these black and white prints straight through the advanced black and white mode. I mean, those prints on the wall were first-time prints. And you get this incredible creamy tonality that still has all of the guts and rich, deep blacks that you expect in the very best black and white prints. Even the little LCD display on it. You know, it's in color, it's easy to navigate, I can make my way through it without getting out the manual. This is a big improvement. There's something else about productivity on this printer, is paper handling. So we can have roll paper sitting back there in the roll. We can have premium luster paper sitting down in the paper cassette. We can sheet feed fine art paper either from the back slot or straight through on the platform, and we don't have to be transitioning between one paper handling mode and another. When we're using roll paper, the new rotary cutter is fast, it stays sharp, it's going to keep working, and it will cut through canvas. I was glad to see that on the 4900 there's a window up there that lets me see the print head go back and forth. Sort of mesmerizing, you know, as it happened. But it gives me a lot of confidence that it's working. I mean, the printer's quiet, so otherwise I'm not quite sure what's happening inside there, you know, and I can just kind of stand over the printer, just kind of watch the thing go back and forth and know that all is well in the world. With the 4900, it's not just one thing. It's how all these technologies work together. There's the TFP print head, and the Ultrachrome HDR ink, and the AccuPhoto HDR screening. All that together lets me pull off an image like the snake charmer and the cobra. So, you get this amazing detail and sharpness on the back of the cobra's head, and then there are these smooth transitions of yellow in the background without a hint of digital step-off or artifacting. Well, same time, holding all those saturated oranges in the snake charmer's cloak. And along with that, skin tones that are true to life. In the end, all this technology just gets out of the way. It renders not a digital print, but a real photograph, where you feel like you're falling right into the scene. The ink sets, the printer heads, the cutters, all that stuff goes together in this system that allows us to produce state-of-the-art work right here in our gallery on Main Street in Lindsborg, Kansas, and compete with anybody in the world, any place, in print quality that we put on our walls.